So, a lot of you guys may know about Breath of the Wild and its multiple amiibo armor sets that come from different links out of different timelines of different Zelda games, like Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, Wind Waker, or even Zelda 1. But there's one question that makes all of that one huge mistake. How did the alternate timeline Tunics get into the child timeline? And I'm talking specifically about the Wind Waker Tunic and also the Zelda 1 Tunic. Now, there is a simple explanation for how the Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, and Ocarina of Time Tunics got into Breath of the Wild. They're all part of the same timeline. But what doesn't make sense? You guessed it. It is how the others got there. So in this video, tonight, depending on what time you're watching this, for me it's night, I'm going to be telling you how they may have got there. So first, I think we should look at the timeline. So in the beginning, there was the creation of the land and sky, which was Skyward Sword right after the ancient battle, and the reincarnation of the goddess Hylia, returned to the surface. Then the era of chaos, the sacred realm is sealed, era of prosperity, establishment of Hyrule Kingdom, Minish Cap, 4 swords, Ocarina of Time. The timeline is split, the hero is defeated in one outcome, which is the decline of Hyrule and the last hero, which has the imprisoning war, Link to the Past, Oracle of Ages and Seasons, Link's Awakening, Zelda 1 and Zelda 2, right after the monarchs of Hyrule used the Triforce, and the tragedy of Princess Zelda. And then in The Hero is Triumphant, number 1, the Twilight Realm and the Legacy of the Hero, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess and Four Swords Adventures, and huge spoiler alert, Breath of the Wild. And then in the second one, the adult side, the new Hero of Winds and a New World, the Wind Waker, Phantom Hourglass, and Spirit Tracks. And that's where it's ended. So yeah, for all of you who are not up to date with the timeline, that is it so far, but it is missing a few games. Now that we know that, let me clarify a few mistakes for you before we get into it. You see, the Tunic, the classic Tunic, is part of the Downfall timeline, in which the hero of the wild is not present, and it has the normal brown inside shirt, outside green tunic with no pants, which is kind of disturbing. And in that timeline, as I said to you, A Link to the Past, the Oracle games, Link's Awakening, Zelda 1, and Zelda 2 take place, and they all have that one tunic. There's one problem. That tunic wasn't in the creation era's timeline, and it definitely wasn't in Ocarina of Time. That's what we know for sure. And then on the adult side of the timeline, we see that Toon Link has something similar to it, but no, it's got a light green inside shirt, and there's no sign of the classic one anywhere. Even the belt buckle is different, which leaves the child timeline, which also has no sign whatsoever of this tunic. So that begs the question, what happened? Just what happened? Well, there may be one thing that'll be able to help with this question. That one thing being Twilight Princess Link. Yep, Twilight Princess Link. Or, actually no, I have a way better example. The transformed blue-eyed beast version of Twilight Princess Link, also known as Wolf Link. Wolf Link can also be considered to be from another plane of existence, also known as the Twilight Realm, where Midna is from, which could have a big role in explaining how the other tunics got there. Now, it is certainly possible that because of this being a fact, it's who's not to say that Midna or some other force could have brung tunics from other planes of existence, like the other timelines. Now, that is very likely, but there's one thing I forgot to discuss. Majora. Yep, call me crazy, But Majora, or specifically Majora's Mask, could be another force that is the reason why these tunics are in this timeline. Because, I mean, just look at A Link Between Worlds. Link literally has Majora's Mask hanging on his wall, and the events of Majora's Mask didn't even take place in that timeline. I mean, how's that possible? Like, for real though. But then again, there's another possibility. What if the plane of existence that Breath of the Wild is connected to is our own plane of existence? What if the amiibos are connections to different worlds of The Legend of Zelda? I mean, just think about it. You need to use amiibos to get almost all of the main green tunics in Breath of the Wild, being from Ocarina of Time, The Legend of Zelda, and The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. And there's even a Fierce Deity amiibo. And a Twilight Princess amiibo. And all of those you can get costumes from. So just think about that. And one final thing that I think may complete this theory completely and just show what connects it all. Ladies and gentlemen, this would also be assuming that the video game characters themselves, the Links, know that their spirits are being put into the figurines. But it could also be being done by an evil force like Majora or Midna, or even just us ourselves. I present to you both the Wolf Link and the Young Link amiibos. Now, you may be wondering why these are important. Well, let me just tell you something. Have you noticed how all these amiibo are links, right? Now, hear me. Just hear me out right now. What if these amiibo actually carry the spirits of the heroes from each generation through, like, the figures and transport them into another plane of existence? Just let that sink in. This could be possible. With so many amiibo, especially Zelda amiibo, who's not to say that they actually could be carrying the spirits of specific characters through these figurines? Like, for example, if you were to scan, excuse me, a Mario amiibo into a Sonic game, and then he randomly show up, that's Mario being transported into a whole nother universe, well, just assuming. And that's the same as being able to transport clothes from another universe into one universe that's completely parallel or opposite of the universe that's currently in. Now, this may all sound very deep, but trust me, it's not. This is just simple universal transportation. This theory probably could work. But hey, it is just a theory after all, and no one's to prove it wrong or right, or it could be wrong or right. Could be proven. But still, it's my theory, and that's what I'm sticking with. Also, just as a little bonus theory, I'd like to just tell my thoughts about one thing. Why isn't the Skyward Sword Link tunic the primary tunic throughout all Zelda games? Well, there's one short answer for some, but no answers for many others. So, the reason why it's not in Minish Cap and Four Swords kind of doesn't make sense, but the fact that the same tunic is shared in both Minish Cap and Four Swords is understandable, although the origin is kind of unknown. Also, in Ocarina of Time, Link grows up a Kokiri, so he has to wear doesn't have to, but he grows up wearing the traditional Kokiri garments. Also, the Link from A Link to the Past, that tunic that he's wearing is technically already his, and it's shared down through the timeline. I don't know if all the tunics that are being worn down the Downfall timeline are the ones that belong to the Link from A Link to the Past, but if so, that is one old piece of clothing. And for the Child timeline, yeah, once again, Ocarina of Time, but one problem, it doesn't look like Twilight Princess Link is wearing the Ocarina of Time clothes whatsoever. Not only did not have chainmail, but the collar was also different as well. It was kind of like more, like, kind of more collar-like than just kind of open. And also in Four Swords, that's just, once again, probably just passed down past Ocarina of Time through the Minish Cap, or Four Swords, into Four Swords Adventure. But that would be really old and kind of wouldn't make sense. And now for the Wind Waker timeline. Like the adult timeline, I mean. I think that the same thing could have happened, like the tunic worn in Minish Cap or Four Swords could have just been passed down during the times of Ocarina of Time. Could have ended up in the adult timeline, which, would have made sense, but also, then again, could not be right. But that's just what I think. I actually did, create that theory, in one of my live streams over on Channel X, so you guys go check that out, please. And if you enjoyed these theories, please don't forget to like, comment, and definitely subscribe if you're new. I'll be making more content like this. If you liked it, please tell me. And if you didn't like it, don't tell me. Actually, yes, tell me. I'd like to know what I need to improve on.